The Guardian, live at the Edinburgh Festival 2009.
Hello fans of listening to things on MP3 players or other mediums. Thanks for listening to The Guardian's podcast from the Edinburgh Festival. I'm Richard Herring. Funnily enough, we've just recorded the whole podcast. I know exactly what's going to happen. I could ruin everyone's jokes for you. I've just stepped off the stage at the Gilded Balloon and I'm standing outside the fire exit. If there's a fire, everyone's fucked because I'm blocking the door. And I'm recording this introduction, so it was nice. It was fun. There's lots of good people coming to look out for Jared Christmas. He seemed a bit hungover and he's just had a small baby, so that might be part of the problem. Joe Caulfield's on. There's some great people on. So there was Doc Brown, who I love, does a very funny thing about the Archers. I'll try and do it for you now. Ooh, the Archers. No, I can't do it. The Penny Dreadfuls, who are quite good. Do a joke. They're doing a sketch about being creepy. I've ruined it for you. Maggie Service, I've never seen her before. She was great. I really liked her. Jared, I've mentioned. Joe Caulfield, who's lovely. You must go and see her. And Chris McCausland, who's doing a thing about being struck by lightning, which sounds brilliant. So you must go and see that. Oh, and I'm on it as well. I do something at the end, and then talk about being racist, as everyone who reads The Guardian knows I am. So make sure you keep listening out for some good racism coming up.
Welcome to the nightclub of the Gilded Balloon, to The Guardian, live at the Edinburgh Festival 2009. My first guest show is called Seven Strikes. It's about a man called Roy who was struck by lightning 7 times. Let's find out more. Please welcome Chris McCausland. You're enjoying your Edinburgh experience?
It's doing my knees no good. So there isn't a level surface in the whole city, is there? And I'm blind, so I don't really know what the next step brings. The whole of Edinburgh is a complete unknown. So I've torn ligaments in my knees. I've ended up having to strap one of them up, but it's good, going well. And
your show, Lightning Strikes, is about a man called Roy.
It is, yeah. He's in the Guinness Book of Records, and I was just doing what anybody else does, really, and writing a show. It was just about things that have happened over the past year, and then came across this story about the bloke that was struck by lightning 7 times, and all of a sudden everything else just seemed a little bit fucking boring. So, I mean, what else can you do? You can't really deliver any other material with any real sense of conviction, can you, really, when you got a story like that in your head? So yeah, it's about this guy that was struck by lightning 7 times. 7 separate occasions, by the way. It's not like he was pinned underneath a TV aerial or something, and it just...
So what was your favourite time that he was struck by lightning, Roy? I mean, inevitably, if you get to know it well, you will rank them, won't you?
Yeah, you will, and yeah, I do them in order as well, and I haven't changed them around. Everything in the show is completely true as well. I want people to go away and look it up afterwards. My favourite one when he was struck by lightning, I'd imagine, was once he wasn't even outside. He was working in an office. It came in through the window. It hit him on the head and set his fucking head on fire. Yeah, so that's the highlight of the show, to be honest. So.
And is your blindness, is that something that you talk about in your show?
I mentioned it at the beginning, otherwise people just stare at me like the rest of these lot in here did when I came here. So I mentioned it at the beginning. There's a few little jokes. I think I mentioned it 4 times in the show, but they're all just little throwaway comments, and it's not about that really. It's although when I started doing the show, and this isn't in the show, but this was a genuine concern of mine, because when I started doing the show and I was preparing the material about this guy getting struck by lightning 7 times, part of my worry was that, ironically, I would get struck by lightning before, because there was a lot of thunderstorms in July, and I was shitting myself, to be honest. And then I realised, why don't more blind people get struck by lightning? Because you're walking around with a big bloody stick. That's...
And is he still alive? What's his surname, the Roy man?
Oh, don't ruin the end of the show.
Oh, right. Okay. So...
No, he's not. But if you want to know how he dies, 8:30 at the courtyard.
Well, now, you're Rudy the Market Trader, aren't you, in a CBB show called Me Too?
Yeah, all right, you sold out as well, mate.
Yeah.
You sold out before me. I should have learnt from your mistakes.
Well, my question didn't actually have the cynical edge to it that I think you've perhaps read into it. Did you enjoy that, though, the CBeebies experience?
Do you know, it was good fun. It was one of them things that somebody mentioned. So they asked me to do it. It's basically on CBeebies if anyone's never seen it, and it's some people say, "Oh, have you ever acted before?" But Miles, you'll agree, it's not acting, is it? Really, it's saying things enthusiastically in stupid clothes. Yeah. And I wasn't going to do it because I thought, oh God, I would look like an arsehole. I look like a right wally. And I was sitting on a train to Aberystwyth one Tuesday night with another comedian who's a really nice guy, Michael, and he was saying to me, I was saying, oh yeah, but I just look like a wally. He went, I hope you're under no illusion that what we do in any way makes us look cool. Yeah, I suppose you've got a point, really, haven't you? So.
I was sitting with someone yesterday and they got a text message saying, I used to play someone called Archie, the inventor of this thing, and they sent me this thing and it said, please, the guy I'm staying with, his sister sent him a text saying, please can you get me a picture of Archie, secretly or otherwise? How unbelievably sinister is that? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Chris McCausland. Joe Caulfield is about to join us, but first we're going to get a bit of stand-up comedy under sketch. Performing every day at the Gilder Balloon. You may well recognise him from that pot noodle advert. Please welcome Convenience Foods Mr. Sex, Jared Christmas.
I like whispering. It's a form of communication on a quieter level, isn't it? But it's weird and creepy, isn't it? Because you could go up to a kid who's by itself and go, how are you getting home? Fair enough question. But if you were to go, how are you getting home? Where's your mum? Where's your mum? My wife likes waking up in the middle of the night and whispering in my ear, I love you. It's nice words, but I'm sound asleep. I wake up to, I love you. And I'm like, yeah? Do you love a man who's just shat his pants? Because that's what's fucking happened here. So emus. Interesting thing about those things, I was down in Australia and I got approached by two Aussies and they asked me, I'm from New Zealand by the way, I know you're all thinking I was Australian, you're racists. Yeah, dropped the racist card early on, didn't I? Shit. Yeah, basically they said, do you want to ride an emu? And for some reason I went, yep. And so next thing I find myself in a field with two Aussies and an emu, which is weird anyway, and I ended up jumping on this emu, and it just took off, and I wasn't expecting that. I'm quite a heavy guy. I was expecting at least its legs to buckle, but it didn't. It took off, and it was incredible. And the one most interesting fact about emus that I discovered is they can rotate their heads 180 degrees. So I'm riding the emu, next thing it's looking back at me, right? And it's still running forwards. That's a weird moment in my life. You know what else they have? Beautiful eyes. But in the moment, I couldn't fucking appreciate that because I was shitting myself. I'm on a bird that's running forwards but looking backwards at me, but it wasn't done. Oh no, I had one more trick up its long-legged, flightless bag of birdie goodies. Tried having a little peck at me. How many things can one creature do at one time? This is taking multitasking to a level that women can't even dream of. And you girls, you bang on about your multitasking. Well, guess what? An emu shits all over your multitasking. I can't join the multitasking game. I can't even change the track of my iPod when I'm going for a jog. So, yeah, I don't go for jogs. I'm a taxi guy. All I'm saying is if you go down to Australia and they say, do you want to ride an emu? Say no. But if someone says, do you want to ride a kangaroo? Yeah, get involved. Come on, that's like riding a living space opera. Who wouldn't have a go on that? So it's genuinely been really nice to be here. I like Miles Jupp, although he is really into cricket, which I think cricket's a half hour of action packed into a day. It's a joke right at the end. I love you all individually, and I will follow you home. So, thank you very much. I've been Jared Christmas. Cheers. Good night. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Jared Christmas! Our next act have been described as pythonic, blackaddery, and generally excellent. Please welcome to the stage to perform a Victorian sketch, The Penny Dreadfuls!
Oh, Susan, my darling! You're the greatest wife anyone could ever hope for. What did that giant squid had eaten me instead?
Hello, Father.
Susan Jr. Can it be?
Oh, Father, it's been too long.
Oh, far too long, my darling. What news from the city?
Good news, I hope, Father. For you see, John has asked me to marry him.
Has he indeed? And pray tell, what was your response?
I told him that he must first meet with my father's approval.
Oh, very good, Susan, very good. And when do I get to meet the man that's stolen my only beloved daughter's heart?
Well, right now, if you so choose, Father. You see, he's standing just beyond our door.
Oh, well, pray usher him in. I would meet the caliber of man that you have chosen to marry.
Here he is. John, this is my father, Francis Belafonte. Father, this is John Dowling.
A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Belafonte. Susan has told me most of the things about you.
The pleasure's all mine, John. Tell me, what manner of family did you come from?
I was orphaned at a young age, but was cleared of all charges.
Right. And what line of work are you in?
I was an undertaker's assistant for a time, but was fired for borrowing.
Right. Do excuse us just for a second, won't you, John? Susan, could I have a
Father,
word?
isn't he the most wonderful man?
No.
Whatever do you mean?
He's a creep.
In what way?
In every way. The way he looks, the way he talks. He even smells creepy.
Father, you just need some more time to get to know him, don't you?
I don't think that I do. He's a creep. He's Creepy McCreep from Creepstown. He is the mayor of Creepstown.
Father, this is the man I love. Please.
Well, all right. Perhaps I've been a trifle hasty, books and first impressions, all that sort of thing. John, do excuse us, just family matter.
Not at all, Mr. Belafonte. I took the opportunity to admire your fixtures and your fittings. You have some divine silverware.
Oh, my God, that is creepy.
Come on, Father, one more chance.
No, Susan, your father is quite astute. I am something of a creepy individual. An excellent observation, sir. Well made.
Oh, my God, that is weird. I just insulted him. He backed me up. That's creepy.
Father, John, you're not really a creep deep down, are you?
I'm afraid so, Susan. I'm the creepiest elf in all of Pixie Town.
Oh, God, he's dancing. Make him stop. Susan, for God's sake, where'd you find these people?
My night classes at the docks.
Oh, God.
Father, if you don't approve, then I suppose the wedding's off.
Of course the wedding's off. You were planning on marrying a creep. Being married to a creep's no fun and games, Susan. I, of all people, should know that.
You don't mean?
Your mother was a creep, Susan.
No!
Yes. Look at her. Look at the portrait. The stubby little fingers. The forehead that goes all the way back to the crown of her head. That's just weird.
I never knew.
Well, now you do. I only wish my father had been alive to tell me what it would be like. Everywhere we went, people would point. They'd stare. They'd shout. Creep! 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 Oh!
I'm sorry, Father, I had to slap you. You see, you're just saying creep over and over again.
I'm sorry, Susan. I just want you to know what you're letting yourself in for.
I love you, Father.
I love you too, Susan Jr.
It is lovely to love, isn't it?
Oh, God! What, you... Get out of my house, you damn dirty creep!
Could I have a sandwich for the journey?
No! God, what is wrong with you? Give me one good reason I shouldn't kill you right now.
I have a newt in my pocket.
Oh, my God, that's creepy!
Penny Dreadfuls! The Penny Dreadfuls are on at the Pleasance at 8:30 every night, performing their new modern show, The Neverman, and there are indeed extra shows on Friday and Saturday. Now, we next have one of the most successful female comedians in Britain. She's regularly seen on TV panel shows. She's written for many high-profile comedians, and she was considered to be one of the top 100 greatest stand-ups by Channel 4. Her show, Jo Caulfield Won't Shut Up, is on at 8 p.m. every night at the Stand. Please welcome the lovely Jo Caulfield. Are you having a good festival there, Jo?
I'm having a very good festival, although I have set fire, hopefully they're not listening, I have set fire to the flat that I'm renting. It was sort of weird because I didn't realise how many fires I have started. So because it's in a kitchen, so I'd made food and I'd left the gas ring on, and I'm sitting at the table eating, the cook is right behind me, and I said to my husband, I was going, oh, the oven seems very hot, seems to stay very hot. My husband ignored me, he's watching television, which kind of was a bad reflection of our marriage, I suppose. He's ignoring me. And then I turned around and realised, oh, the whole cooker is on fire. And my husband just went, how do you put out fires? I can't believe he didn't know. And I went, oh, you get a tea towel and you wring it under the tap and then you put it over. And he went, but all the tea towels are on fire. I had left all the tea towels on top and the gloves, the whatever you call them, oven gloves. So everything was on fire. And we both just kind of stood there going, really, no idea what to do now. No idea. So then I did very quick thinking. I did go and get a towel and do the same thing with the towel, and then that put it out. And then I just said, I can't believe you don't know how to put out a fire. And he just said, but you always put out the fires. And then he went back over how many fires I have started.
Oh, really?
and I have started a lot. We used to have one of those old-fashioned grills, and I would set fire to that regularly once a week. And now I'm not allowed candles. And he did remind me, he goes, do you know what? Remember why you're not allowed candles? And I was going, oh, I never really thought why I'm not allowed. Because you set fire to everything. Yeah. So we've had a minor fire, but otherwise I'm having a really good time. I think everyone, this festival, Recession, fantastic for comedy, isn't it? Everyone wants to go out and get pissed and have a laugh.
Yeah.
No, that's the British way, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's been a much happier festival, I think, than last year. Everybody was miserable most of the time, and this year people are up for it. Although I think the city will be dragged down by your inadvertent vandalism.
The other night I had 3 people walk out of my show, and I was kind of pleased because I've never had anyone walk out, so I kind of went, oh, I'm dangerous, you know. But then I thought about it, and I thought, but they walked out after 3 minutes. They couldn't have hated me that much in 3 minutes to walk out. So I asked Neve, who's on the door, and she said they were 3 Japanese tourists, and they just came up to her and they just said, it's just a woman talking. And so she said, yeah, it's stand-up comedy, that's what it'll be. And they went, but does she move or change clothes? So she had to explain to them what stand-up comedy was, and that you will be quite disappointed. There's a lot of shows where it's just someone talking, and they did just go off muttering, going, but it's just a woman talking. And I go, yeah, that is what it is. It's just a woman talking.
Will that be on your poster for next year?
Well, I could... good idea. Can I do that? Just a woman talking?
Jo Caulfield, just a woman talking.
I'm not even changing my clothes. Yeah.
I had some people walk out about 3 minutes in about 2 years ago, and I said, what's wrong? And they said, we have tickets for Miracle in Rwanda. Which was somewhat upsetting. On at the stand every night at 8 p.m, ladies and gentlemen, Jo Caulfield! Mr. Richard Herring is currently grooming his Hitler moustache backstage, ready to come and join us. But before he does, we're going to get a couple more performances. First up, one of the finest character comedians around, a very good friend of mine. She's on every day at 3:15 at the Gilded Balloon with Service with a Smile. Please welcome Maggie Service!
You've lost so much weight. Oh my God, I hate you, you bitch. Oh, I just caught myself staring at your boobs. They look fantastic. I was like that. If I wasn't straight and didn't have my gorgeous boyfriend who loves me, by the way, you might have just turned me, lady. And that was such a fab song you just sang. Oh my God, I would never have the courage to get up and do that. I was looking at you and thinking, oh my God, not another one. She's so gorgeous and lovely and she can sing. I think I just might have to shoot her dead. Honestly, that's what I was thinking. I just have to shoot you dead. I'm not sure that I've got your new Moby, so it is 07. Oh, that's it. God, what a snappy little number. Store. It's great. So easy to remember. Right, well, I will speak to you tomorrow then, gorgeous. God, you're so gorgeous. I hate you. No.
Maggie Service! on the podcast last year with Danny Robbins. This year, he's going it alone. Please welcome, with a brilliant rap, Doc Brown!
This is a bit of an emotional return for me, getting back to the Fringe, because these days I work a lot with the BBC, and I do a lot of music, get commissioned to write a lot of stuff for them, and I in particular I've been doing a lot of stuff with Radio 4, which is it's a bit of a strange fit, I'll be honest with you, right? They like me though, I think I'm a bit of a novelty. I don't know that they've had one of me up there for a little while, right? And I try my best to fit in. I started reading The Guardian and whatnot, and but it's hard, not fitting in reading The Guardian. Right? Like the Saturday edition, it feels like it's having a go at my life, like work, money, family, sport, now review. God, you're right, I am a loser, right? So, but as part of this kind of diversity initiative that they've got at Radio 4, they have me recording these little musical trailers for some of their flagship shows, try and get a bit more of a diverse, younger audience and whatnot, switch it up, and it's been cool. I've done a lot of them, like rap-based stuff, and it's been really a lot of fun. I did one for You and Yours, did the Shipping Forecast, one for Woman's Hour. That was wicked, actually, because we had like Jenny Murray doing some backing vocals and whatnot. I call her J-Mo now. And yeah, it's been cool. I even did one for one of the most famous shows of all time, right? Check this out. Now here's a little fact that's not probably known. Young folks are sick of all these dodgy shows, Neighbours and Hollyoaks. I got something so much darker, much harder. Forget 2 pints of lager, it's the Archers. Let me take you on a walk through the hood, Borsetshire, where they're up to no good. The new series ain't what you envisaged. Sex, drugs, money and murder in the village. Oliver leaves his wife for someone better, even though she's a cow. No, a real cow, a heifer. Tom Archer, he stabs pigs in his cottage and claims it's for organic sausage. Blood stains on the ceiling, got a feeling it's just the front for Tom's heroin dealing. Will Grundy walks with a cocked shotgun, with a swagger just like a pimp, he says he's not one. Seems he's hiding a strange secret, got enough birds, they call him the gamekeeper. It's just another day in the ghetto, Ambridge, it's like a modern day Soweto.
Doc Brown!
Thank you very much.
Our final guest today was described in GQ magazine as the best comedian of his generation. His 25th Fringe show, Hitler Moustache, has caused a reasonable amount of controversy. Here to tell us about it, Mr. Richard Herring. Now, it's not impossible that you may have been getting some strange looks. You've got a Hitler moustache.
Well, it's a toothbrush moustache, yes.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
That's all right. I mean, I do call the show Hitler Moustache. So
yeah, I think you've put that into my head. What is what's the deal then with the toothbrush moustache, if you will?
Well, it's just I can't quite remember why I started thinking about it, but it just seemed unfair that this moustache was associated only with Hitler when it started out as Charlie Chaplin's moustache. So the idea was to try and reclaim it for comedy. I was interested to see why 70 years on no one has this moustache anymore, when it used to be quite a popular moustache in the 20s and 30s, and now it's just associated with one man, even though lots of people have had it. And so I just sort of was interested why that was, and then also to see what would happen to me if I went around with it on my face.
What's the best thing that's happened to you as a result of
It's been weird, because it actually just makes the best things are when I forget it's there and then something else happens, and then suddenly I realise halfway through I have this moustache on my face. And there's a story in the show about me I had my iPhone stolen just plucked out of my hand by a guy on a bicycle when I was walking along, and which was very upsetting for me because I love my iPhone. But then I was sort of talking to the police kind of came and we were sort of discussing it, and they were being really helpful. I just thought they'd go, well, you're an idiot, why didn't you hold it onto your iPhone? But they were really doing their best to find this guy on the walkie-talkie, kind of describing him, and I thought, this is amazing. And then I remembered that I had this moustache, and I A, thought, what are the police thinking is going on here? And B, I thought, is this why they're being so helpful, the police? Because of this, have they recognised a kindred spirit? Or just is it, if you got this moustache, anyone in a uniform has to obey you? It's just like implicit.
Now, there was a slight hoo-ha prior to the festival concerning your moustache, which was related to this publication for whom I'm working. How is that better now?
I think so. I mean, I think it worked out okay in the end. It was just Brian Logan was writing an article about offence in comedy and his idea that there's a new breed of offensive comedians, which, you know, every year journalists will come up with an idea that there's a new sort of section of comedy which they can make. You can make anything fit into it because there's every kind of comedy going on. So if you want to decide just to pick five people out, you can do.
He had basically come up with a premise for his article, hadn't he? And everyone who read it, you know, because he'd obviously run out early of people who were offensive, because everyone read it and went, Richard Herring, racist? You're crazy.
Well, it was weird because he just took I had an hour-long interview with him, and I was, you know, and I trusted that it was The Guardian. You know, sometimes when you're being interviewed by journalists, you think I'll be really careful about exactly what I say, so they don't just take a line out of context and make me look like the opposite of what I am. And so I kind of talked quite openly with him because I thought it was kind of an interesting article. And I do, especially in my podcast I do with Andrew Collins, we'll go as far as we can with things, you know, but it's from a silly point of view, a juvenile point of view, and it's usually making a reasonable point. And so he took 3 lines out of 3 of my routines without explaining the routines, which were, I hate Pakistanis, I think all black people should be deported, and that racists have a point. Which to me, I read it and thought, that guy doesn't sound very nice. I'm not going to go and see his show. So
Did he put it with a photograph of you with the moustache?
Yeah, with a Hitler moustache. But I was genuinely...
I'm guessing you look like a bit of a twat, to be honest.
I was generally quite scared because I thought, like, if someone, you know, I live in West London and I live in, my community, all my neighbours, pretty much every ethnicity's covered in just my street, and I wonder, and I know I'm very recognisable at the moment because I have this moustache. So if someone saw me and said, "Oh, you're the guy who hates Pakistanis and wants black people to be deported," I expect, because you've got that Hitler moustache. I put the things together, and I wouldn't have felt that they, I think they would have had a reason to punch me in the face. As it happens, all those routines kind of, you take a comedian, it said the show argues that racists have a point, whereas in the show it says that racists might have a point, and then I explore that idea and discover that they don't have a point, So as a comedian, you're writing things, it's often a good way to knock a point is to argue from their point of view, And the great thing about doing a show about racism is that racists' views have no historical, genetic or scientific facts behind them. In fact, if you talk about them, they're shown to be ridiculous. So to start from a premise such as that is a kind of a comedic device, and for someone to take that out of context, it was a bit... I think just a bit sloppy of him, really. I think he decided he was making a point, and in the end of the article he said, "Oh, I think there is a point to doing these offensive routines," but it didn't specifically say that about me, so I just felt I'd been a bit misrepresented. But The Guardian kindly allowed me to write a 2-page article defending myself, so it's turned out to be really good publicity, so I'd like to thank... me and Brian just got together before and said, the tickets aren't selling that well, Brian, could you just say I hate Pakistanis in the paper? And I'm sure it'll take off with The Guardian readers. There's secretly a lot of racists amongst The Guardian readers. They're pretending to read that paper. So no, it's turned out to be, it made the show a talking point right at the beginning of the festival, and so I guess that was a good thing. But for a couple of days, and it's actually very interesting the way the internet and things like podcasts and my own blog, you're able to immediately respond to these things. I think 10 years ago this might have been a different kind of scenario where, because I was immediately able to write a blog, and immediately on Twitter and Facebook, people getting very upset, and other comedians kind of jumped to my defence. Dave Gorman wrote a really great piece about it on his blog, and then suddenly that means within a day there was an opposing movement towards that, which I think meant The Guardian sort of had to give me the right to reply. Whereas 10 years ago, without the internet, I might just have been stuck there coming to Edinburgh with everyone throwing eggs at my face like I was some kind of melty-faced Nick Griffin.
Richard Herring is going to give us an extract of his show, ladies and gentlemen, to let you make your own minds up. I think it sounds offensive.
And I don't want to get to listen to this podcast and just find I come on, Richard Herring, I hate Pakistanis. I want all black people to be deported. Not again.
Before he does, I'd like to thank all my guests today: the Penny Dreadfuls, Maggie Service, Doc Brown, Jared Christmas, Chris McCausland and Joe Caulfield. To close the show, our final stand-up performance, performing every night at the Underbelly, Richard Herring.
So I never believed them when they said you get more right wing as you get older. So I'm doing this show this year in Edinburgh, as we've discussed, called Hitler Moustache, in which I'm trying to reclaim the toothbrush moustache, as it should be called, for comedy, because Charlie Chaplin had it first, then Hitler came along, kind of ruined it for everyone. It was probably the worst thing he ever did. This used to be quite a popular moustache, but now the only place you'll see this in the 21st century is carved into the pubic hair of a naughty lady. Robert Mugabe's got a little one as well. I think it's fair to say, though, the only place you'll see this moustache is on a cunt. The bloke from Sparks is the exception that proves the rule. So I just wanted to find out if it was possible to reclaim this moustache, whether it was wise to try and reclaim this moustache, and what would happen to me if I went around the streets of Britain with this on my face, because this is real. There's a real moustache on my face. It's a 24/7 it's a big commitment to make quite a glib point, but it's just fascinating to me that this moustache is on the face of arguably the funniest man of the 20th century and arguably the most evil man of the 20th century. I mean, I'm not talking about Blakey from On the Buses and Mr. Bronson from Grange Hill. Hitler and Chaplin both had this same moustache. How can it be funny on one face and terrifying on another? Is this the point where comedy and evil meet? Is it the subtle knife between those two universes? Might I slip either way with this on my face? What if Hitler and Chaplin had ever kissed? Would the universe have been destroyed by that dichotomy, or would they have just stuck together like Velcro? It's hard to know. But, you know, I don't think they're opposites, comedy and evil. I think they're two hands in the same glove. I think there's a lot of similarities between they're both kind of between comedians and fascist dictators. I think they're both arrogant, quite opinionated, quite selfish, insecure, a little bit insane. Mussolini would have been a brilliant stand-up comedian if he'd chosen to go that way. And there's a lot of stand-up comedians who would make excellent fascist dictators. Naming no names, Stuart Lee. So, I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the... Ladies, you'll be surprised to hear this. I'm not the only man in this room who has sported the toothbrush moustache. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that every single man in this room who is capable of growing a beard and has at any point had to try and shave it off he won't have told you about it, but what men do in the privacy of their own bathroom when it comes to... They'll try out a few different styles. So they might shave down, have a little Peter Sutcliffe beard. It doesn't mean they want to hammer women over the head. It's just a little style. They do a Mexican bandit moustache. So the last thing every single man will do, he'll go down to the toothbrush moustache, do a little Sikh Heil at himself in the mirror, laugh about how amusing he has just been, then quickly shave it off before anyone sees. So... I did all that except I kept the moustache on, so who's the person you should be really worrying about? The man proudly wearing this moustache out on the street, or the man surreptitiously having it in clandestine circumstances? I know who I'm more scared of, and he's sitting right next to you. But, I was worried about being seen as racist. You know, it's kind of interesting. I was worried about offending people. But I'm not one of these women-hating, sexist comedians. You can relax, ladies. I'm a big fan of women. I love women. I'm not a sexist. I've actually got a friend who's a woman, so I can't be sexist. I believe women should be treated as if they're equal. That's my strong belief. And I hope you come and see the show. You can relax, because I am definitely you'll enjoy it. I'm definitely the best stand-up comedian you will ever see. So you don't have to just come along. You'll really enjoy. I don't know the meaning of the word hubris, which is a shame, because straight after this, I'm taking part in a Define the Meaning of the Word Hubris competition. I'm not bothered, though. I think I'm definitely going to win anyway. Some people think it's a mistake there to end with a joke that depends on the audience knowing the definition of quite an obscure word. It's quite hubristic to put that one in at the close. I assumed that the Guardian readers might get that there. A lot more stupid than you'd imagine. You're listening at home, but I have to say, maybe a cock joke would have been better to end on. But I am my own worst critic, though my self-criticism is mediocre at best. Luckily, I have Brian Logan to come and see the show. Just makes shit up. So thank you very much for having me. See you another time. Cheers. Richard Herring.
The Guardian, live at the Edinburgh Festival 2009.